Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So this is the measurements we are going to be using for our clothes, our senator that we're going to be sewing right now. A trouser, which is a native shokoto, a native trouser, because I'm not going to be putting a waistband and stuff like that, so I call it native trouser and senator wear. So the length we are going to be working with is the length of 37. Can you see that? This is 37 plus 5 inches. I always add 5 inches to the length measurement because I'll be folding 2 inches down. I'll be folding 2 inches up plus sewing allowance. So that one is 1 inch. So I used to add my 5 inches to my trouser measurement. So the leg I'm going to be using, I already measured that just now. This 7.5. And its lapse is 25. 25 divided by 2 give us 12.5, which I just did. So what I used to use for my cross is lapse divided by 2. Its lapse is 25. 25 divided by 2 will give me 12.5 plus 2 inches for the folding up. For the elastic I'm going to be putting up. That's why I have 14.5 for the crush. Do you understand what I mean? Do you understand that place very well? So for the band, I use 10.5. That is what I just chalk out now. I measure 10.5 for the band because its band is 29. So because I'm going to put elastic, that's why I use 10.5. So can you see that? So I already chalk my body measurements. Then I rule out my leg. I rule out the leg measurements. So the 2 inches, I had 5 inches. So I will rule out the 2 inches I'm going to be folding for the down. I will rule out the 2 inches I'm going to be folding for the up. I'm just ruling that just for you to understand why I put 5 inches on my measurement. Then the the inches that remain, I will share it between the leg and the up. Half inch, that 1 inch is just that go, it will go. So it will remain my measurement correct with 5 inches sewing allowance that I put. 5 inches for my folding down and my folding up. So I'm cutting out the trouser now. I'm cutting it out. Can you see that? I'm cutting that out now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be placing the fabric in to cut the back. And the back is always bigger than the front. The back is going to be 2 inch bigger than the front. I used to use 2 inch because of sewing allowance and stuff like that. So can you see that now? So that's what I'm doing. I'm already adding my 2 inches to the back side of the trouser, which is shokoto, native trouser, because I'm going to be putting elastic, so I call it native trouser. Can you see that? So I'll be cutting it out now. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll cut the back out. I want to say a very big thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you guys a lot. You guys are giving me that ginger to continue with this video. Thank you so much. So what I'm writing out is I used to cut my pockets with 7x14. That's what I just wrote on the fabric. I wrote it at the bad side, not the good side though. So I wrote I'll be cutting 7x14. I'll measure 7 for the breadth and I'll use 14 for the length of the trouser. So I'll be cutting that out. I'll be cutting that in 14 times 2. 14 times 2, that will be in 2 places. I'll be cutting that in 2 places on food. So that is it. Can you see that? So this is one pocket like this. I'll be cutting another side too for the second pocket. So I'm done cutting my trouser. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is my senator wear, the top. So the top is what I'm going to be cutting now. So for the body of the top, I'll be using 12.5 for the body. I'll be cutting 12.5 for the body. And for the length, I'll be using 31 plus sewing allowance, making 32. So I'll cut that out. Length of 32 with the breadth of 12.5, because the person chest is just 39. 39 is the person chest. So that's why I cut 12.5. 12.5 is okay. 12.5, that will be 12.5, that will be 50 in between allowance and stuff like that. So that is the front. The first one I cut that I had 1 inches to the length measurement is the front measurement. This is the back. So I'll be adding 4 inches to the back measurement. That is what I'm cutting out now. First, I'll cut out the fabric. So can you see that the back is longer than the front? So the next thing I'll be doing now, I'll be placing the two together. I'll be placing the two together. Can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is called shoulder slant with just 1 inch. Can you see that? That is 1 inches. So I will slant the shoulder. Before I do anything, after I cut out my body measurement with the length of the length and the breadth of the fabric for the front and back, the next thing I will do, I'll place the two together. I will cut out the shoulder slants. I'll cut the shoulder slants. Then the next thing I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be drawing the front a little bit downward. It will be the same thing at the down part. The same thing at the down part. I'm trying to trim it so that it will be straight. That is what you see me doing right now. I'll place the two together at the down part. It will be straight. And I will now overlap the back to the front. I'm going to slant it because I've already slanted. So even when I'm placing it on top of each other, it's not going to be straight. Can you see that? Then the next thing you do, you can just press your iron on top so that it lay very well, so that when it lays, it won't be disturbing you. The fabric will not be running up down. I'll be able to chalk and do everything accordingly. I just place my iron. I just place my iron. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be measuring my shoulder measurement. His shoulder is 16.5. 16.5 divided by 2 will give us 8.25. 8.25. Can you see that? So 8.25. 8.25 will give us an quarter. Yes, it will give us 16.5. Then plus sewing allowance. Don't forget plus sewing allowance. I'm going to be having plus half inch allowance. I'm going to be having 8.25. 8.25 plus allowance. So this is what I use while I'm cutting a male dress, whether a male dress or a female dress. Whatsoever I measure at the person's shoulder is what I used to measure at the person armhole. Let's say I measure 14 at the person's shoulder, I will be measuring as in divided by 2, 14 divided by 2, that will be 7. Then I'll be doing the same thing at the person armhole. I hope you understand what I mean. So now what I do is I already measure at the person shoulder, I measure at the person arm too. I measure it and the arm. Same thing, I measure it back, then I rule it out. Can you see that? That is what I'm doing right now. I'm ruling it in here. I'll rule it. I'll rule it. Then after ruling, I'll be using free hand to do my armhole cuts, armhole measurements. I'll be using free hand to do that. So the next thing I'll be doing now is the person chest measurement plus sewing allowance. I'll read it out. Then I'll come to the person neckline. I'll come to the person neckline. What is the person neckline? If you measure the person neck, then you can just follow the like this person that owns the clothes neck is 15.5. So what I do here is for the breadth I measure 2 inches and for the length I measure 4 inches. So after you chalk, you measure it. See what I'm doing? I'm measuring it now. When I measure, it's not complete. I have 7 here. The person is 15.5 and I have 7 here. So I have to add little to the neckline. I need to have 15 here. Then the half, so I will have 15 here. After I have my 15, then what I'm going to remain half inches that remain. When I sew the cloth finish, it will be 15.5 exactly. I hope you understand. The person neck is 15.5 and 15. By the time I sew finish, I'll have my 15.5. So now I'm cutting out my neckline. Please, I want you to pay very close attention to this cutting. Very, very important. So I'll be cutting out my armhole. Okay, I already cut out the armhole. So I'll be cutting the body also. So I'm doing my body measurement too. Straighten everything of the person measurement. So the next thing I'll be doing now, I'll open the back from the front. Can you see that? I'll be coming in from the front. You are not cutting the back for this, only the front. I'll be coming in with just an half inch. Just an half inch. And when you are cutting, be very, very careful so that you don't cut front and back. So I'll be cutting only the fronts. Can you see that? So the reason why for this is so that there will not be excess at the armhole side. There will not be some small fabric, some excess that the clothes will not leave on the body. So that's the reason for this. See that? So I'm done for the body. Remain the facing. I'll do the facing. But before that, let me cut the hand of the fabric first. Our clothes is a senator. They are going to be using cufflinks for the hand. So the person hand length is 23. The person hand length is 23. I'll be cutting this one 20. I'm going to be cutting this one. I'll be using 4. I'll be cutting 20 for this one plus sewing allowance. So that's why I'm using 20 for this one. I'll be using for the joining, which is the cufflinks hand. So what I want to cut out the hand, but I'm still using my fabric. Yeah, so now I have 20. So I measure 4. I want to cut my hand now. To cut my hand from the place I want to use for the armhole side, I'll measure 4, and for the down part I'll do 6. 6 times will give us 12. So by the time hand will be 5, that would be 5 times 2 will give us 10. So I'll be cutting it out now. And you see that? So I'm done cutting the sleeve now. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting slits on hand. You know there is a senator hand, conflicts and rather. So I'll be cutting the slits. So what I always do is from one side I'll be measure 4 by 3. Can you see that? So this is what I will do. I'll cut that 4 by 3. Can you see that? So the next thing I'm going to be doing is the cuffling, and I'm going to be putting stay on it. I'll be cutting 10.5 by 10.5. I love it to be so that it will not, when by the time I put stay and I want to do it, it will not be like the cloth is not enough by the time I trim and stuff like that. So I will be cutting 10.5 by 10.5. So that is what I'm doing right now. 10.5 by 10.5. You see that? For this one that I cut now, I'm going to be putting stay. Depending on your choice, you add stay. You can use no stay, depending on how hard you want the hand to be.